There are shows in this world that we will never fully understand, except Ghost Adventures. We have watched every episode to build our obsession, our fandom.
Watching alongside each other because no one we know really gives a damn. Watching Zach and crew catch groundbreaking proof of the paranormal, inspiring us to explore our own interest in otherworldly phenomena. This is our podcast. We are Paranormal Putas.
What up, everybody? It's Melia.
And it's me, Bethany.
And we're the Paranormal Putas. And we're here with a brand new episode of a Ghost Adventures review titled Mizpah Hotel.
Mizpah Hotel.
Mizpah Hotel.
Mizpah Hotel.
And that aired on September 30th, 2011.
Ooh, she found the real date.
I did.
Because what are we watching on? Was it HBO or something?
Yeah, HBO Max just says 2011.
Yeah, it doesn't give us the exact dates anymore. We liked having them dates for you guys,
Well, you know? Give you the facts.
Yeah. Speaking of facts, the Mizpah Hotel is a historic hotel in, how do you say it, Tonopah, Nevada?
Yeah, Tonopah.
Yeah.
Let's go with that.
So it's 5 stories high and shared the title of tallest building in Nevada until 1927.
I like how you almost like aged your voice.
Yeah.
As you read the year.
1927. So the hotel was financed by George Nixon, Cal Brower, and Bob Govan, and designed by George Holsworth.
Oh.
Anyways, I mentioned this because Bauer in particular was involved with the Belmont, Tonopah Midway, and Tonopah Mining Company, and Tonopah Divided Mining Company. So Brower owned the banking corporation, which had an office and lobby in the 1905 building, and was the director of the Bank of Italy in San Francisco. I don't know why that matters. But what really matters here is that Brower was into mining and shit, because we later find out that there are how many miles of mining?
Oh gosh, it was like 582 miles.
Yes.
Right.
525 miles of mining tunnels throughout this area.
Yeah, which is really cool. And that's really the history. I think as soon as the episode started, it was like gold mining. And I was like, oh, okay, so where are we? We're in California and we're in Nevada, so close enough. And of course, anytime there's gold mines going on, something blows up, something catches fire, some tragedy in the area. And in this area specifically, there was a fire in 1911, which killed 17 men. So unfortunately, right, adding to some of the history and the potential hauntings of the area because of the people that lost them lives while mining.
Yeah, and then, it's funny because Zach was like, were there any deaths here? And it's like, of course there were. This is a, mining shaft and shit, So the guy he was talking to was like, yeah, there are 2 on record or whatever that they know of, right? And I'm like, bro, there's way more than that, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah, and they spoke of the 2 guys who were down in the shaft, and they were apparently workers who were like getting the gold, and somebody went down there and killed them, and I think like took what they had worked for, essentially. And so left their bodies down there. They were later found, the 2 dead bodies. So the guy's talking about that story specifically. So Zach's like, oh, okay. And he kind of collects stories throughout the location in that fashion. Then we learn about
the Lady in Red.
The Lady in Red, which is kind of the main apparition, of this location. She was, I think that was really just where she took her
tricks.
Her tricks.
Nah, yeah,
she
was a lady of the night.
Yeah, she was a lady of the night, and that's where she took her customers. And her story apparently is that one of her
I think it was her husband, actually. She had a husband and he was going on a business trip on the train, and she had started this little side hustle, and he came back and she wasn't there. And so he finds her in the hotel with the other dude, and then shit goes crazy, and then she gets stabbed. And yeah, it was like a whole thing.
Dang, I missed all of that. I thought it was like a crazy guy who was like just a regular Joe and finds her with another regular Joe and stabs her. Yeah. Well, then, my notes are not as detailed as Bethany's notes.
I don't know. Or I could just be really high and making this up. But I'm pretty sure it was her husband because she thought he was gone. You remember? And that guy was like, and she started a little side business, if you know what I'm saying. And then Zach is like, no, I don't. What are you saying?
Say it, please.
Yeah.
No, okay. Well, that makes sense. So then the lady in red is the most seen. So we get a lot of people talking about her. And we actually, or Zach even interviews the Vegas Valley Paranormal, and they share some of what they've captured, like EVPs that say the name Jacob, or one of the paranormal investigators heard and saw something, and they shared his video footage. So we're doing a pretty solid job of collecting like eyewitness statements of the Mizpah being for sure haunted.
Yeah, and everyone that he's running into is definitely agreeing that it is haunted. Like, you know, there was a lady he talked to who worked there, and he was talking to the kids and stuff, and they brought up the story about the senator who was found in the bathtub in ice.
Yeah, but no, and that's where they keep correcting Zach, because Zach keeps saying, "Oh, he was found in," and the kids are like, "No, he was put there." Like, so the story of the senator goes, and it's just, I'll do my best to recap it. Essentially, the party wanted to win the election that was upcoming, but if the senator died 2 days before the election, the party would be able to select the new candidate. But if he died after the election, then it would have to go to the governor to make the decision. So the story goes that they offed him and then put him on ice for 2 days, so that way they could pretend to delay his death. So
be like, oh, we found him.
Whoop, whoop.
Exactly 48 hours on the dot.
So, you know, just the government doing government things.
True that.
No, but what I thought was really cool, Bethany mentioned like Zach talking to people. So what kind of happens throughout this episode too is a lot of kind of side clips and things like that. A lot of bullshit. And again, if you're listening to us, you know that anytime the guys do a lot of bullshit pre-investigation, like we're like, fuck, this is really setting up the investigation to be something weak. So a lot of this is going on. There's a scene where like the kids that are telling him the story of the senator, like they start chasing him and he's like, hey, get back, I don't have candy.
Yeah.
And it's like real goofy and stuff like that. So things like that happen in the pre-investigation. But the guys also, which I thought was really cool, were they talk about moments where they feel kind of connected to the Mizpah, because 10 years prior, before Nick had even met Zach or Aaron, he drove by the Mizpah and saw a blue orb in the window, and that was something that kind of helped pique his curiosity and want to, know more about the paranormal and eventually investigate the Mizpah. So he was really excited to have the opportunity to come back, and Zach had something fairly similar, or I think all of them, because it was they had to drive past Mizpah
for Castle House.
And Castle House is where the crew did their first ever investigation with all three of them. So it was really cool. They got to go back to Castle House, and this was again pre-investigation. So now we're taking a trip to another location, and the guys want to do some investigating. And that was kind of cool.
No, it definitely was. It was fun to get that little bit of history and see them kind of have this full circle moment. Like Zach was really feeling it, and it was really cute. But again, it's kind of like, if y'all are doing all this extra shit before the actual investigation, we're not expecting a really good meaty episode.
Yeah. I think it was really funny because at Castle House they work with Joni, who's the current owner. And they get some stuff, and we're actually probably going to talk about it like in the honorables and the skimpies. But they also do another like location at the mines. And this is where we get like the most ridiculous like skit like ever. Like they put real time and like production money and like effects in this clip. It is so,
and it kind of fell flat.
It was so bad
for me. And like we love when they do this shit, like when they did the tombstone stuff,
we
and he like
talk about Tombstone.
The stunt, you know, like it was so ridiculous. Gettysburg, like, so the acting and the outfits and shit. Yeah. So with this one, Zach was talking in a crazy accent or whatever. I think you had a note on that one, didn't you?
Because it kind of was almost like a Forrest Gump type talk. Like he was like, "We're gonna go." Like that's not even it. Like I don't even know how to do Forrest Gump. Like life's like a box of chocolates. So he was kind of talking like that.
Yeah.
So sound like drawn out slang and
a slack jaw.
A slack jaw. Yeah. And why? We were like, "What the fuck is this about?"
It was so weird. It came out of nowhere. It was so weird, and Aaron didn't even find it amusing. The only time Aaron was laughing was anytime Zach said shaft, because it's a mining shaft, and
You said shaft.
and Zach was kind of like going with the bit, but then he kind of like petered out, and Nick was like, "Oh, I was liking it," and I don't think Nick was liking it. I think Nick was playing games. I think Nick was like
setting up Zach to look foolish.
Yeah, like I could hear it in his voice and feel it in his energy.
He was disrupting the energy fields.
Yeah. So Zach kind of dropped the bit, and it's like, man, you always got to commit to the bit. You got to
commit to the bit, yes. But like, and they kind of do. So they're standing there in like mining attire, and they go into the shaft, and, and they're like hitting at the wall, pretending to mine and stuff. And then Aaron goes, "I don't think we should be hitting this.
Like for real.
Like for real, yeah." And then it's like rumblings.
And then they shake the camera.
Shakes, it's like they run out and like throw dirt at the camera, and fucking Zach's tuck and roll.
Yeah, he fucking seriously, like he was stuntman Mike in his mind, man. He tuck and rolled real hard. And you know what? I was like, that's why he's the star. He committed to that bit. All right.
I was gonna say maybe he did commit to the bit.
He did. Well, and he was going to continue to commit to the slack jaw bit. It was just like Nick and Aaron weren't really like
participating,
rooting it on, or like
yeah,
and it just kind of fell flat. The energy fell flat. It's not your fault, Zach.
It's not your fault. But that's not even the end, because after he tucks and
There's
rolls,
more.
like after he tucks and rolls out of the shaft, he's like, oh. He's like, oh my god, and then there's a big explosion and fucking smoke everywhere, all CGI, and like 2011 CGI. So it's not even good.
It's not good.
Very apparently fake, and it's just like, why are we watching this? Like, so these things are playing out pre-investigation. So we're sitting there like, season 6 is like sucking chub.
It's just sucking chub.
It's just not good right now.
It's not.
So, but that's everything that happened pre-investigation.
Yeah, it was a lot. And even in the pre-investigation, they were like talking to Nick, and Nick was like, yeah, I got into the paranormal when I was like so and bliggity blue. And me and Leah looked at each other, and we were like, why are we talking to Nick so much?
So
like,
much.
why are we getting all this random ass background 6 years into the show? And I don't care. I'm sorry. Like, I just I was like, whatever.
Yeah, no, and that even happened outside of Castle House. Like, it's him and Zach talking, and Nick's like, "Oh, do you remember we were here and this and this and this and this happened?" And Zach's like, "Oh yeah," and I'm there like, I don't care. Like, I don't want to hear it from you, Nick. I don't. Just let Zach do what he does. But again, we're getting towards the end of Nick, and I don't know if this is like their way of trying to meet him in the middle, like, all right, man, we'll give you more screen time.
Yeah, and it kind of feels that way.
Or
I feel like this may even be like the actual beginning of the end, because we bring it up. We've been bringing it up since like
forever.
Yeah, season 1. But I think like throughout the seasons, we pick up on the little nuance of like those moments when they're not seeing eye to eye, or they're not congealed as like a unit, you know.
Yeah.
And we're seeing it more and more
More and
and
more.
I think Nick doesn't leave until season like 10.
Yeah, something like that. So we do have like 4
we
more
have
seasons.
a few more years, but I feel like we're coming to like this. We're rising to the climax, right? Like we're on the little train, we're on the roller coaster, and we're going up, and we're getting ready.
Yeah, we are. We are.
All to crash down. Fucking stoked.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love it. So yeah, that's it for pre-investigation. So you know what it means.
Do you?
Honorable haunts and
Skimpy scares.
that's right, everybody. It's time for honorable haunts and skimpy scares. And I'm just gonna say, I was kind of surprised.
Yeah.
Because, like we said, pre-investigation was just so fucking much. Like, I even checked time.
Yeah.
I was like,
she
how
was
much
getting
time?
bored. We was getting bored. We was like, this is rough.
Like, how are we going to survive this? But let's start with the skimpies, because, baby, there's some juicy honorables on this list.
Yeah.
So, one of the first skimpies is actually one that you got.
Yeah, you're right. I did have one of these. One of the first things I noted is, so immediately upon starting the official investigation, Nick says that he feels like fingers on his back. And Zach says that they feel like spiritual energy in the room.
Yeah.
And that's cool and all. That's great. But I didn't see it.
Yeah, again, as a viewer, we like things we can hear or see, it helps.
Yeah.
One of my skimpies, there's an elevator, and Aaron is in this elevator or around this elevator, and he captures some EVPs. There's definitely something there, but it's not grade A EVP, so you really can't make out what they're saying. It's just
Yeah.
so cool. We definitely know something's there, but it's skimpy because what were you trying to say, bro?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, man.
What are you trying to say, bro?
Meh.
I have a similar one. There was a moment when they all split off, and Nick got some like unexplained feedback when like kind of walking near this little machine and shit. And I just didn't really. I was like, I don't know if we needed that. I was like, unexplained feedback, whatever. So I put it on the skimpies because I was like, I don't even know if I'd have ever mentioned that if it was my show. Like, let's leave that out.
What a waste.
Yeah, that's just how I felt about it.
I think there's 2 more skimpies, but this one is actually going to be a skimpy honorable.
Okay, so then I'll do mine first because it's a
Yeah.
skimpies. So there was a moment where, again, they're split off and now we're talking about Nick and he's asking questions to the room, trying to get spirits, whatever. And so we get an EVP, but again, it's inaudible. It's just like a bunch of garble. And I don't think even the guys could figure it out. Because sometimes how they show it as garble and then they figure it out and then they show it again and you hear it. With this one, they were just like, yeah, there's some shit there.
Yeah. No, agreed. It was whatevs.
Yeah.
So we have some skimpy honorables in here too. A few skimpy honorables. So these are going to transition us into those real juicy
bits.
pieces. That's fantastic. So the first one I mentioned, we were hanging out at Joni's house, Castle House. This is where the guys did their first ever investigation as a crew together, and there's a noise. Joni has like a bench of dolls, and they're creepy looking fucking dolls, classic porcelain haunted dolls, and they actually get a noise come from the area, but there's nothing to really kind of back it up. It's real faint. Again, you kind of hear something, but it wasn't enough for us to be like, oh shit, that's wild. It definitely freaked out Joni, but for us, skimpy honorable.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, I think what also helped was Billy was there. Billy Tully was there helping analyze the audio, and he had his rockin' mohawk.
Yeah, I wrote that down. I was like, Billy with hawk. He's hawking.
He's hawking it.
He's walking. The other skimpy honorable that I put was they had a moment where they caught an EVP, and it's an unexplained female voice. And eventually it becomes cool because we find out what she's saying later, but they replay it. Like fucking, I think I counted 4 times before I wrote it down, and I was like, holy fuck. And I think they replayed it another like 1 or 2 more times after I wrote it down.
Yeah.
I was like, god damn, like y'all are really on this EVP's ass. Like, I don't know why, because it wasn't very good for those times they played it, So I put that as a skimpy honorable.
No, that's fair. That's fair. My last skimpy honorable is the wood. I think so. There's 2 pieces of wood. Zach kind of does an experiment. Again, this is when they're separated. Zach's like on the 2nd floor. He puts a piece of wood, 2 pieces of wood leaned up against each other. They make like a little triangle, or I don't know the proper terms. So they're there. They get knocked over, and Zach's like, "Oh my god, the wood got knocked over." But I mean, it could have just fell over. It could have been like a thing. Zach goes out of his way to like jump around the pieces of wood to show that, you know, it would take real force to knock this wood over. But it's also like, I don't know. I feel like things could fall over just because.
Yeah, it just wasn't as convincing as I needed it to be.
Yeah.
I mean, it was cool, but it was also like, I don't know.
It's fair. So
that's why it's a skimpy honorable.
Skimpy honorable. Like, it was good, but yeah.
So this one I'm going to share is, so I was talking about them going over and over again, that one EVP. When they do get to the EVP, it says, "I am weary." And then, so that part is kind of honorable.
Yeah.
But like the route to getting there.
Very skimpy.
Yeah. But then later on, towards the end of the episode, one of the last things Zach catches is a spirit box session, the spirit box saying evil. And he's asking like, "What are you?" or whatever. And he thinks it's replying that it's evil. Yeah. And I don't know. What do you say? Is that honorable or is that skimpy honorable? Because like it was, I don't know. It was audible, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I guess skimpy honorable. Because for me, honorable's got to be like, it's got to grab you or like make you like, oh shit. Like, anytime it's an honorable, we usually say, oh shit, after we see it. So that's our meter for how we gauge these things. So yeah, I didn't say oh shit after that because I said oh shit about some of the other ones on this list.
Which we can get to now because I believe we're done.
Baby, it's time for the honorables. Let's jump in. One of the first ones we get is an EVP, and it's the guys saying, or it's a voice that the guys capture, and it says, "Help, I know who you are." Ooh. And this it comes back to around the same time Bethany was talking about. They play it over and over like 4 or 5 times. To her point, it took a lot to get there, but the EVP part was pretty solid. So, help, I know who you are.
I believe that was one of the EVPs they got at Joni's, right?
Oh, was that a Joni EVP?
I'm pretty sure because she was there when they were deciphering it with Billy and stuff. Yeah.
I got my shit all mixed up. Yes, that happened at Castle House with Joni because that's what freaked Joni out. And she was like, I don't want to sleep here tonight. Yeah. Correct. 100%. Honorable. So like we talked about the guys doing like a lot of random shit through the episode. Something that Zach did here, which I can't recall him doing before, I'm sure that he has, but he mentions audio tagging, and this is how I imagine him building his credibility because he's saying things like Zach walking, Nick walking, Aaron walking, or like he's making these little verbal notes on his recording. So when he goes back to review his audio evidence, he doesn't confuse their movements for EVPs because he wants to be sure that he's only providing us what is actually paranormal phenomena. So
otherworldly.
So kudos to Zaddy Bagans showing us how he builds that credibility, and that to me was honorable.
Suck up. Kidding. No, I think it's awesome too. And that is how most professionals do it anyway, at least these days.
Yeah. So he set a standard.
Yeah.
I don't really know, but that's how I feel in my heart.
Yeah. The first one that I put down as honorable was this one they got in like the lower mine area, and they put an EVP recorder down there, and it said, "We got work to do." But it was seriously fucking creepy. I was like, ugh, that's scary. Like the voice made us all go like, ugh. We got work to do.
Yeah, seriously. It was not a good sounding voice. And like we were like, what the fuck? Oh shit. And that's what made it honorable. It gave us like a real reaction, like, oh shit, that was wild. It sounded like a little cave goblin.
Yeah, it really did. It was total goblin.
It was wild. Just like that. Mm-hmm. So we mentioned the elevator, and I really liked the elevator. We have it here as an honorable because the guys are walking the stairs. They walk up 5 flights of stairs because the elevator's down. Aaron goes to his floor and the elevator's up there, and this floor is known to have like things that don't work like start working. Like there's a Keno board up there that hasn't worked for years, but it lights up randomly, you know. So all these little things happen. Aaron's in this space and the elevator door opens on its own, and you see that Aaron doesn't push the door button to open the door, and there's obviously nothing in the elevator that opens the door, and this happens multiple times, like at least 3 times on camera. It definitely freaks Aaron out, and I think he captures an EVP, but it's like we mentioned earlier, the EVPs fell in the skimpy because we couldn't make out what was being said on the EVPs. So he's getting some good like poltergeist activity plus EVPs, so it was really cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And then you had a note about followed by a slam and a yell.
Oh, yeah. So that's actually Zach. Zach's on his floor and he yells out, can you make a door close? And that actually, like we hear a slam and then he captures like a little yell in the background. So it was really cool too. And that's happening again when the guys are all separated from each other.
Yeah. This one, I'm pretty sure, I think it may have been that one you just talked about, the unexplained knock, because it was when he was in that hallway where he heard an unexplained knock. I think actually it may have been before the big one that you said. It was like just a little knock and he was like,
yeah.
And then he shut up and did a little more and then
asked to slam the door. The door got slammed. Yeah. No.
So that whole thing, you know, it's kind of like one big lump, but like all the little moments. We're good.
Yeah. And I think for this next one, we're back in the room with Aaron. Yeah, the Keno room. And this one was really cool. It kind of reminded me of the movie Ghost with Patrick Swayze. They actually capture a little shadow at the bottom right of the screen, just kind of shoot across really, really fast, like a little blip. But it reminded me of the ghosts and the little spirits that come and
because they're like these little black, like weird,
and they come out of the street or the walls. That's what it reminded me of, and it was pretty cool.
That's pretty wild. I mean, it was a cool catch though. Like that was a good, like, I don't know, when I saw it I was like, oh shit, bro. It was good. The last honorable we have is an EVP. The guys catch a ghost saying, hey you
hey, look at us. So that's it for the honorables and the skimpies.
Yeah, man. I mean, although that beginning part was a little like, oh, that came out all right. Like, it wasn't like, you know, super amazing, but it was pretty good.
I have to agree.
Agreed. Moving along to your favorite.
So good.
I love it so much. I'm so glad we found that. I don't even know how we found that sound, but it's fucking perfect. I love it.
Let's not talk about it anymore before we get fined.
Anyways,
you had the first couple.
I did. Well, I had the first, because I immediately noticed Zach Bagans' belt buckle, and I wrote, "Sweet ass fashion, Zach." It is so cheesy, and I'm totally here for it. It was this huge belt buckle, and it had a skull and crossbones, and he kind of had his shirt like tucked in behind it, so you could see its massiveness.
Yeah, it's huge.
It reminded me very much of like the Danzig belt buckle, and I was like,
hell yeah, it's great.
But it just made me, I don't know, it was funny because, you know, Zach, he's so wild. And he paired that with some wild ass baggy jeans.
But it doesn't stop there because, like we mentioned, he is in the black square frames, everybody, and they are here to stay.
Yeah,
so,
thank God.
Thank goodness. But I even said it. He still looks a little weird because he's got his little gap tooth and his little nose still hasn't had its little job, and it's something. But he's still a little cutie. And then I have mentioned the miner outfits, and it's really just the guys they have on
hard hats and stuff,
and they got like chains on their shoulders,
one of those like
and
pickaxes.
yeah,
Like
so. But I was like, okay, they're committing to the bit. So they dressed up in little costumes and did the damn thing.
Yeah, they did. They did the damn thing.
Yeah, man. But other than that, they kept it pretty classic. Like nothing crazy at all.
Yeah.
Like with any of the guys. Like even Nick was just like in a solid gray shirt. Aaron was in solid, like nothing wild at all.
Yeah, pretty classy.
Pretty classy. So
not so trashy.
That's it for the fashions.
Awesome.
Oh, now it's your favorite.
My favorite. Zany Zaddy says...
Holy shit.
Fuck yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's time for Zany Zaddy says.
Oh, man.
And this one was just so fucking stupid.
You want it?
Wait, of course. So again, we're talking about their epic scene, acting as miners and exploding out of the shaft. So Zach is talking and he's like, we're going to find that shaft. And Aaron laughs and he's like, you said shaft. And it's really bad and it's really awkward because Zach is like trying to be serious and Nick is over here giggling like a fucking fifth grader.
Yeah. Shaft.
It was so awkward, but it was also
awkward.
kind of fucking great. So, yeah.
The next zaddy that we have here is actually Zach. So he's trying to contact the lady in red.
Lady in red.
And he wants to know her name. And so he says, I don't want to just call you the lady in red. I don't want to be called the boy in black.
I love that he called himself a boy and not a man. That was like the first thing that came to my mind. I was like, Zach. Just putting it out there.
Oh, that's pretty great. But that's our zaddy.
Mm-hmm. And the last one we have, fucking love it. It's not Zach, but it is Nick. And he says, well, actually, do you want to do this together?
Let's tee it up.
Do you want to do Nick's part or Aaron's
I'll do
part?
Aaron's part. All right. So the guys are talking about the investigation and maybe doing some additional things. And I'm Aaron, all right? So
Okay.
action. Let's not get crazy, all right?
What are you talking about? Let's not get crazy. This is Ghost Adventures. This is what we do.
End scene. Yeah, baby, crushed it.
This is what we do. I love it. It was so good. It was so cheesy, but it was so fucking great. I loved it.
It really was. It really was. But that's it for the zanies, man. So that's the history, the haunts, the fashions, the zaddies. It's time to rate Mizpah Hotel.
Bro, that's wild. I can't believe it's already time to rate.
Like, I don't even know how many claws I'm going to give it.
I throughout the episode, I was thinking about it. I feel like it's a pretty solid. Fuck. I was going to say 2.
I saw you about to say 2. And 2's not that solid.
Yeah.
2.5.
Yeah, 2.5.
2.75.
I mean, I feel like 3, but I feel like 3 is a little generous.
Yeah, I agree. Well, okay, look.
2 3/4.
I got a nub. What kind of claw is that?
Oh, it's the dinosaur claw. Oh. Because it's the thumb and the 2 and the 2 fingers.
I like it. Okay, we'll
That's
give it one of those.
We're
The
gonna
Mizpah.
the Mizpah Hotel. 2 3/4 claws.
2 3/4 claws, the Mizpah. What is this? What's the one with Ed McMahon? What used to be that show? And you'd get stars. He would be like 2 3/4 stars, the original challenges.
Star Search.
Star Search. You don't remember Star Search?
I do. Well, not really.
Like,
I mean,
Britney was on it. Beyonce was on
Lauryn
it.
Hill.
Lauryn Hill
and
was
like a
on
bunch
it.
of people were on it. Yeah.
Yeah, man. All right. Anyway, sorry. My mind.
Yeah. So 2 3/4 claws, bro.
Let's cleanse this baby.
Let's call up a homegirl.
Omni Rigare Suminaro. Omni Rigare Suminaro.
take a big deep breath in. Release out. You cleansed.
Hey, I feel it.
That was a great time. It was a fun time.
Yes.
I'm ready to go lay on the couch with your cat.
Let's party.
So thanks everybody for hanging out with us. Per usual, I'm Bethany.
And I'm Leah.
We're signing off with Tubecitos.
From these Putitas.
She's doing this to make me angry.
Peace. Oh, that was on a burp.
Ah, that.
Yeah.
Wee!